From the first trailer, I knew this was going to be awesome. Or at least, I hoped. New characters, a new look, new control style, new location, new tech, new weapons. Watch Dogs 2 was aiming to become one of my all-time favorite games. Did it live up to all that hype? With that being said, how they hangin' down, dudes? It's me, the Media Raptor, and welcome back to Watch Dogs Month. I got a confession for all of you. This whole month, literally, just stemmed from the fact that I wanted to review Watch Dogs 2 really badly. That at some point I wanted to get around to reviewing it, and at times I thought I'll make it the 200th episode, or I'll make it the next anniversary episode, or, you know, I kind of wanted to do it at some point, but I also wanted to review the DLC for it, like the other story missions and stuff. So I figured, what the heck, let's just give Watch Dogs a month. And since March is the month of my birthday, I figured why not celebrate the month, why not do an entire month of self-gratification and self-indulging in one of my all-time favorite franchises, then by, you know, wearing clothing from that franchise, talking about that franchise, and ultimately singing that franchise's praises. And let's talk about 2016's Watch Dogs 2. When the trailer first dropped for this, I actually was there watching the world premiere. I was watching the timer click down for about an hour before the trailer dropped, and needless to say, I loved it. I was so excited to see another Watch Dogs game. I was so excited to watch, well, more Watch Dogs. I wanted to know what was going on. And then all throughout the summer, every time a new trailer dropped, I was there. I was pumped. I was excited. At Fan Expo, Bloom and themselves showed up and had a Smart House tour ending with a DedSec video. I was there. I was there to watch gameplay footage you had to sign up and sign a non-disclosure form for, and you got to go in like a secret room that was literally spray painted like DedSec. I was there for all of that. I met John Tench and I asked him specifically, hey, is T-Bone gonna be in Watch Dogs 2? And he told me I can't tell you that. I was so excited. Now, one reason why it's taken me so long to review this game is because, one, I had to play through the entire game, and the story itself is almost 15 hours, so it's a good, long story. But I wanted to make sure I wasn't just fanboying over the game. And I didn't want to just be just such a major fan that I'd overlook any and all issues with it. So I looked at other people's reviews, I looked at the sales, I looked at what people thought could be better. And while they're all correct, and I agree with most of them, I'm still giving this game 4 Raptor Claws out of 4. Right now, I want you to know that it is one of my all-time favorite games. This review will be somewhat biased, but I want to give you an honest reason to play Watch Dogs 2, because you should. Yes, it's like Grand Theft Auto 5, but with hacking. But, in some ways, it's better than Grand Theft Auto 5. Some of them were pretty obvious, such as like the graphics, but that's because this game is 5 years older. Yeah, GTA 5 is already 5 years old. Yeah, I understand that's kind of biased, you know, comparing a 5-year younger game to a game 5 years later and saying, yeah, it's better in graphics. Like, that's kind of stupid and unfair, but I will cover everything in a bit. Let's start with what is probably the best part of the entire game. And I will be making a lot of comparisons to Watch Dogs, just so you know. The story. The story, the narrative, the characters, I love it. One big complaint everyone seemed to have, and even I will admit Watch Dogs had an issue with, was its story. It was very cliched. It was very much your very basic, typical revenge story about a man who was wronged seeking justice for his dead niece. And they tried to make it more interesting by along the way dragging political corruption, murder cover-ups, gangs. It worked in the end, to me at least, but it was fairly cliched. Despite some really interesting ideas, they didn't really capitalize on it. So what does Watch Dogs 2 do? Throws all of that right out the window and goes with a completely new story. This time, instead of Aiden Pierce, we're following Marcus Holloway, a young, well, I'll let him say it.
Hey, I'm Marcus. 80s film buff, idealist, hacker.
And what happened is, well, he was essentially put on a crime watch list because of crime probability, or to put it bluntly, racism. Yeah, I'm gonna just get the elephant out of the room right now. When you play Watch Dogs 2, They deal a lot with some very hot-button topics, such as political corruption, racial profiling, racism in general, the treatment of minorities, and the stereotypes that often come from minority groups. I'm going to tell you right now, if you are easily triggered as the commenter, and I'm sorry if that offended anybody, this game might have some scenes that will kind of irk you a little bit. Some of them irked me because I can't stand for this crap. I hate when this happens. But the whole story is Marcus was essentially put on, well, community service because he was essentially told he committed a crime he didn't. Kind of like Minority Report. Ironically, with the same kind of title with that, kind of makes you think. But he's mad, so he ends up breaking into Bloom and completely removing himself from the system. Something I'd kind of like to do someday, so only Raptor would exist and not who I really am. But that's also because, well, I've done some stuff I don't want to get into right now. If you haven't noticed, I'm in a different place again. I had to move again. Just had to pack up and get out of there. Scorch. I don't want to talk about it. Anyhow, along the way, it ends up turning out to be a giant test to join DedSec. And DedSec this time, I'll cover the group itself, but the characters are great. We have Sitara, the leader, Josh, one of the hackers, Wrench, who is my favorite character from this game, not including someone who I'll mention in a second, and Horatio, who ends up becoming Marcus's closest friend. Now, right off the bat, you might notice that, well, you can kind of predict something right away. Marcus and Horatio become friends really quick, and Horatio's a really nice guy. He dies. Spoiler alert. Yeah, as much as the story is creative and fun, it does still follow some cliches, such as the main character's best friend dying, main character being framed for something he didn't do, and that's kind of the whole plot, is he was framed for something he didn't do and he has to prove his innocence. Now, the story itself kind of actually takes a back seat, because a complaint I have with Watch Dogs 2's story is the fact that there isn't really the same kind of story as there was in Watch Dogs. In the first Watch Dogs, it was one big story. Bad Blood was one big story. You had to figure out something, then this led to more problems, then this led to more problems. With Watch Dogs 2, you have an end goal, take down Bloom, take down CTOS, and just show them who's the boss. But really, it's just do a whole bunch of not pointless stuff, it all has a reason. It's just kind of go around doing a whole bunch of missions which don't really connect to one another to earn more followers so you can have more computer power and eventually you take down Bloom. So, yeah, there isn't a straightforward story, which I was kind of hoping for, and I think these characters will be great for. As I said, Sitara, she's strong, she's smart, she's fun to be around, she's the great leader character. Josh is socially awkward, but I didn't like him at first, but he does grow on you pretty quickly. I actually didn't know for quite a while that he has Asperger's until the DLC came out and they came out and said it. That or they said it in the first game and I wasn't paying attention. Or maybe I'm just terrible at telling when someone has a disability because I don't want to see them for a disability. I want to see them as a person, not what they're disabled with. Horatio, as I said, for the time he's here, is a fun guy to be around. He's sort of the most level-headed, probably. He's very much he's like the chill guy. As for Marcus, essentially the best way to describe him is he's the guy that when you put him into a social group, a group of if you put him into a room with 10 people and the people barely knew each other, Marcus would bring them together. All throughout the game, Marcus is working hard to essentially bring DedSec together, to make them stronger. Which is funny because they say DedSec doesn't have a leader, and yet by the end it's pretty clear Marcus is kind of the leader now. And good for him. He's a great character. He's fun. He's likable. He's relatable. He nerds out about stuff. He loves comics and movies. He has a whole discussion about Alien vs. Predator and Batman vs. Predator and Superman vs. Predator and Superman and Batman vs. Aliens and Predator and even Archie vs. Predator. And then we get to my favorite new character for the Watch Dogs series, Wrench. Everyone knows who Wrench is, even people who don't play Watch Dogs. I've been trying to figure out how I make one of Wrench's masks for a whole year now. I want one. I'm surprised Ubisoft didn't sell them. I would pay $200 for one that actually changes when your face does as well. He's funny, he's vulgar, he's crude, he's caring, he's destructive. a whole lot of people have said that I'm Wrench, and I'm totally okay with that. And despite this game tonally being a lot more carefree and just fun and humorous, Wrench has the best lines in the game still. Here's just a few of my favorite.
Marcus, I came, I saw, I blew shit up. I came again. Is it actually good? It might be evil. Guys, back up, guys! It's gonna catch on fire, back up!
But how do you know?
Because it has to catch on fire! It cannot catch on fire! Told ya! The fun world. Nice hat.
Nice mask.
Okay, we're good. Let's fuckify his shit up!
Just everything about this guy makes me want to see him more. My biggest complaint, well, one of my biggest complaints about Watch Dogs 2 was there was not a lot of DLC. The DLC we got was good, but I wanted a Wrench DLC like how they did with T-Bone. Speaking of which, T-Bone's back. That is an instant +1 Raptor Claw for me. Just having John Tench's T-Bone back, no matter what, is great. But I do have to retract points briefly because they do kind of dip into the cliche of, well, we don't trust him because he's new here. And then there's this whole scene between Wrench and T-Bone where Marcus kind of defends T-Bone and Wrench says, dude, what the hell? Like, what about what we've been trying to do all this time? Like, it's kind of there because it kind of has to be, and it makes sense within the game's story, and I don't want to spoil the whole thing. But it's pretty clear that by the end, they're all going to be friends and getting along. And in the end, they do. But just, you know, you can easily just hit skip on the cutscene and then the next mission is totally fine. Either I kind of wish they hadn't done that, or they had done it a little bit more. Maybe a bit more tension between the characters would have worked, because we could have had underlying motives or other motives that didn't totally overlap with everyone else. That being said, T-Bone is still a great character. All the main characters that you're supposed to like in this, you love them. They're likable, they're funny, they're relatable, you want to see more of them. Then there's the villains, who I absolutely hate.
Lulu.
Yeah, okay, this is not a knock on the actors. The actors are fantastic. Every actor in this game deserves an award of some kind. But the characters are just those kind of characters you want to punch in the face. I can tell you why. First of all, Dusan Nemec, the main, sort of the head of Bloom currently, has a man bun. I want to punch him in the face just for having a man bun, because those are incredibly stupid. And no, I'm not just saying that because my hair is normally pretty short. I'm saying that on behalf of all men everywhere, that man buns are stupid. Why do I say that? My brother had one, and it made him look even dumber than usual. Well, I'll take that last sentence back. It made him look pretty dumb, and that's saying a lot, because that dude's a BMX biker. He's one of the best I've ever seen. It looks so stupid, and he admitted he was doing it just for laughs, but come on, man. I was really hoping we'd be past man buns by this point, but apparently there's still a thing. He is also an extreme racist. While racial slurs are never used, thank you, he very heavy-handedly says, who cares if a few people get stepped on because everyone else feels safe? Wow. And the thing is, the social commentary in this game is pretty blunt, but it's pretty accurate. Because a lot of it has to do with how reliant we are on technology and how technology itself can screw everyone over, how it can destroy someone's life. And they're right about that. You know, it's true. Technology, despite how great we want to make it out to be, it can be used to attack people. It can be used to harm people. I mean, look at Drama Alert. They make money off of stories about people getting hurt, injured, screwed over, backstabbed, or just being terrible people. Technology, for as good as it is, can also have a really dark side, and the thing which this game gets right is it knows how to walk that balance between the good of it, the good we can do with it, and the bad we can do with it. And then there's the other character, Lenny, who I will probably talk about more when I get to Human Conditions. She's just one of those people that like really kind of irks me because well, she's a jerk and she knows it and she uses that to her advantage. Like, I get they tried to make her kind of funny or something, but that's kind of that's kind of where I'm like, okay, when do we get the killer? And spoiler alert here real quick, neither Doosan or Lenny dies, and that kind of bummed me out. I would have loved to have taken down Nemec like I did Damien in the original Watch Dogs, but a huge point of this game was to prove that we're stronger than the big people, so I guess killing him wouldn't have been the best way to do that. Plus, if Marcus wanted to prove he wasn't a criminal, I guess murdering someone wouldn't be the best way either. And this statement was not well thought out. That being said, let's move on from that. What else is better about Watch Dogs 2? Well, a big thing that's better is the gameplay. The gameplay is awesome. Now, we can customize everything from the hat to the person's shoes. We can spray paint cars. You can't customize it yourself. That would be really cool. I want to see that in Watch Dogs 3. But you can get full body sprays. There are so many cars. New weapons. You can color your weapons with weapon skins. And that's just in terms of customization. I bring that up because that was promised in the original Watch Dogs and it was never used, sadly. Gameplay, it's so much smoother. But I do have to mention this. So they overhauled the controls, which they also do with Assassin's Creed Origins, and kind of annoys me a little bit, but once you get used to it, it'll be fine. But let me tell you what I'm talking about. So L2 is still aim, R2 is still shoot, circle is still takedown, X is still move from corner to corner, this is move, run around, and this is look around. But here's where you get to more confusing stuff. In the original Watch Dogs, square was hack. Now, you have to hold down R1 to bring up the hacking menu. Then, all 4 buttons here will actually allow you to hack. You get 4 different options for vehicles, for phones, for steam pipes. You can do proximity, you can make it explode instantly, you can make phones electrocute people, you can distract them, you can call mob hits, you can get people arrested. And while that's all really cool, what I was used to was, well, just sort of point, hack, go. Now, you really gotta be careful, especially when you're trying to drive, look around, and then you have to hack at the same time. You really gotta get all your hands, both hands going at the same time. Something else that really confused me. L1 was to bring up the weapon wheel. Now, you have to push and hold up on the control pad. And no longer do you get to have every weapon on you at once, you only get to have 2. That's kind of annoying. Well, and a stun gun. And the stun gun is really overpowered once you upgrade it, to be honest. Then left and right, and essentially deploy your drone and your RC car. And down is hacker vision, which essentially is eagle vision, just allowing you to see things, your goals and whatnot. What I do have to mention, and this really is a problem. In the original Watch Dogs, and I know I've been going back and forth a lot, you push the options button to pause the game. It would just do that automatically, it would pause. Well, now when you hit the options button, that brings up your phone. It does not pause the game. You would have to go all the way down and then hit settings or something to pause the game. Or hit this to bring up the map, or just hit the home button to pause the game that way. Pausing is a lot harder than it needs to be for some reason. But other than that, I turned on the PS4 by accident. Whoops. With that being said, the controls, once you get used to them, are great. And graphically, this game is gorgeous. I recorded everything at 720p, otherwise this would take hours to export, but believe me, when you're playing this on an HD TV, it looks amazing. Every detail, every crack, every piece of clothing is so well designed. San Francisco is beautiful. You can go anywhere you want. You can do parkour. It's a lot of fun. You can just start running and just jump over things. You can find secret vehicles which have awesome ability. You can get a bus for $5 that can flip things and set them on fire. You can go on top of the Golden Gate Bridge and jump off if you feel like it. You can call the police on yourself. You can start bounties. I'll cover multiplayer in a minute. It's awesome. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It will take a while to get used to, but once you're used to it, it's very simple. It's very simple to grasp. Might take a few tries to get used to, but once you got it, you're good. Now, I haven't really talked a lot about the missions because I don't want to spoil them, but a lot of them do tend to come down to sneak around, hack something, and leave. And while you can go in guns blazing, unlike the first Watch Dogs, one thing which I think is good about only having 2 weapons is you have to be careful. See, you can now also replay missions. Thank you for that. The first Watch Dogs, for some reason, you couldn't replay a single mission without restarting the game. Now you can replay any mission, anytime once you've beaten it. And that's a huge thumbs up from me. That's just kind of something that should be in every game now. That's my opinion. Now you can go back to like the first few missions, get like a really powerful automatic shotgun and just blast your way through it, no problem. But some of the missions, you really have to be careful. You have to be sneaky, you have to make a plan. You have to use your distractions, your lures, your remote explosive devices. You have to call people, like, or make people answer their phone to sneak by. You have to know when to taser them or when to take them down. You have to be careful, otherwise you're gonna get gunned down and you have to redo everything. So the game actually does manage to get stealth right, and Assassin's Creed Origins improved on this. Stealth is getting better in these games, and I like it. I actually like stealth now, and I hated stealth before. Maybe because I was so used to just going in guns blazing with a fully automatic shotgun in the original Watch Dogs. Now, there is one thing I should talk about, and this might be sort of the cutoff point for some people. This will probably be the last negative I have to say about this game. It's DedSec themselves, and I kind of have a counter argument to the argument. Take a look at the first Watch Dogs. Just take a look at this.
You need to calm down. I cashed in on my favors to get them here. Don't blow this.
You know I deserve this. Bad Boy runs a big risk here. She told us all about you. Enough for us to come to a decision.
Of course. There is only one decision, right?
You have no place among the Daves.
Wrong. I'm better than any one of you. Test me. Let's do this right now.
You have no place within DedSec either.
What the fuck? Do you have any idea what I can do?
You can talk. You can pose. But you don't understand. We work anonymously.
These guys seem spooky, they seem weird, they seem creepy, and they seem like someone you do not mess with. They seem like someone that when you see them on a screen, you pay attention or you walk away. They are intimidating, they are frightening, and they are a force to be reckoned with. Now, here's DedSec in Watch Dogs 2.
HMP Studios, we are holding you solely responsible for the dreck that is Cyber. Cheesy stunts and bad dialogue, we can take. But you've insulted our intelligence, and that we can't excuse. It seems like you could do with a lesson on what hackers are capable of. And since you didn't come to us to learn, we'll come to you to teach. We are launching Operation Hack and Run. We'll show you what hackers can do. We are DedSec.
Yeah, this game uses a lot of memes, a lot of troll humor, and to me that's fine because I find most of it funny. I know some people were let down by DedSec's sort of humorification is what I've heard people call it. And I get it. But I kind of have an argument for it. The DedSec we saw in the original Watch Dogs took place in Chicago. Now they've said there have been DedSec branches all around the world. What if in San Francisco this is just how they do things? Imagine what DedSec would be like in Canada.
We do not appreciate what you've done. You have ignored our warnings, and now we will win by force. We will begin hacking the hockey arenas to make sure the Maple Leafs win. This year, the Stanley Cup will be ours. Buddy.
That was honestly the stupidest thing I've ever done. I literally came up with it as I was recording this. Yeah, I don't script anything out in advance. I literally just sort of improvise as I go. But my thought on DedSec is, I think they're great. I still think they're ominous, they're creepy, and they get the job done. They're nice, like I like the characters, and I support the organization. I want to see more of it. They actually had a join DedSec thing going on before the game came out. I am a member of DedSec technically, and I love that. Now, my question still comes down to this. Does the fact that there's memes and internet slang and YOLO so random humor bug you? If yes, you might not like this game as much as I do. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the rest of the stuff, because everything in this game is amazing. The actors in this game are fantastic, both motion capture and for the audio. As I've mentioned before, I don't have the picture with me. I'm sorry. I will show it to you there's a picture of it on my Instagram. Go check it out. Yeah, like, I have met some of the actors. I met John Tench, as I mentioned many times before. I've already shown you that one. I've also met Sean Beatrice and Jonathan Dubsky, who played Josh and Wrench. And I haven't met Rufus Prentice or Tassia Tells, who I kind of want to because they play Marcus and Satara, but all the actors in this game are phenomenal. It's clear all of them are having the time of their life, and all these characters have a unique, distinct personality. Again, another problem with the original Watch Dogs that a lot of people point out, that Aiden was very much a boring character. To me, he was a character you gave personality to. But here, these characters are great, the actors are great, I want them to get more work. I've heard people talk about, like, non-stop about how we need a Black Panther in video games, meaning we need more, well, we need African Americans, we need a big game starring a black main character. I support that. And I can tell you, Watch Dogs 2, great main character. And I totally think Rufus Prentice, he needs more work. Guys, if anyone out there is watching my stuff and you're working on a video game or something, get him in on it. The emotional scenes, when he needs to be angry, he can be angry. He can be sad, he can be overjoyed. He can do everything and make you feel it. Just from the opening scene, I was thinking, you know what? I want to hang out with this guy. If he was real, I want to hang out with him.
Consider this your 10-second initiation, Retro.
What else is there? The soundtrack is great. We got stuff like Bob Marley, we got stuff like death metal, can't really remember the names. We don't have Jesus Built My Hot Rod by Ministry, which is a real shame because that was the best song out of the original soundtrack, hands down. As for the score, well, the original Watch Dogs had a very dark and ominous score. The Watch Dogs 2 score by Hudson Mo something. Hang on, let me just check. I actually have the soundtrack on my iPod. It was that good. That, and I'm totally down to support these guys because they deserve it. Would it be under... Here it is. Hudson Mohawk. It's a great score. It's a very techno-y, very synthy, at the same time almost orchestral in some scenes score. It can be chilling, it can be empowering, it can be awesome. And there's one song called, by Anti-Flag, I want to say? Sorry, I hate constantly having to check my phone. I should probably figure this out before I do this. But it plays in the one time when you get to play as Wrench. I don't want to spoil what you're doing, but you just get to blow stuff up, and it's amazing on so many levels. Let me just check what it is. I think it's Anti-Flag, actually. Yeah, Anti-Flag. It's called Anti-Flag Kill the Rich. It's one of those songs that when you hear it, you're either going to hate it or you're going to be like, I feel so pumped up right now. And whenever I'm at the gym, I put it on. I put that on. I put Brian Get Better by Frank Turner on, and I'm just like, yes, let's work out, let's do some weight. I'm totally down for this. The soundtrack is great, the controls are great, everything about this game is phenomenal. The multiplayer is a lot of fun this time. You get to do full online co-op missions like the first one, but now you can actually do armored truck missions, which is a great way to earn a ton of money, as well as bounty hunting missions, which is so much fun. You can either find somebody who has a bounty on them or put a bounty on yourself. And let me tell you, once you have Bertha from the T-Bone Pack, bounty hunting is so much fun because there's a lot of people who don't have it. And I remember whenever I'm playing it, I just hear, what the heck is that thing? As I come barreling towards them. And on my headphones, I'm blaring through the fire and the flames, and it's pretty awesome. So, can I recommend Watch Dogs 2? What do you think? Watch Dogs 2 is easily... If I had to say my top 3 all-time favorite video games, it would be, well, the 3 of them right now, currently, and they do tend to change every now and then, are Overwatch, Watch Dogs 2, and Mortal Kombat. Not sure which one. But really, I think if you pointed a gun at me and said, right now, what's your all-time favorite game, it would be Watch Dogs 2. It has replayability. It has multiple routes through its missions. It has great characters, great acting, great music, great story, great dynamics, great social commentary. It has everything you could want. The big problem with it, not a lot of people bought it when it first came out. So guys, if you're watching this, please get it. Watch Dogs 2 is fun, it's endearing, it is head and shoulders above the original. And I know a lot of people think, oh wait, Watch Dogs, wasn't that GTA looking ripoff that was really boring and dull? It kinda is. I still think it's great, but that's my opinion. But Watch Dogs 2 is everything you could want out of a sequel, everything you could want out of an open world game. It is one of my favorite games, just hands down. And I know I'm usually pretty optimistic and I'm always throwing out like big, like, you gotta check this out, stuff like Sharknado or House Shark. Yeah, that's actually a thing coming out, I can't wait to watch it. But this, you guys have to. This is one of the most creative games. It has all new ways, you can do entire missions just on a drone. It has, like, there's so many things you can do to goof around, to mess around with. I haven't told you about half the stuff, like interacting with people, because I don't want to spoil everything. I want you guys to play this game. And if you play the game, that probably means we'll get a sequel. And what should be a sequel? Well, come back next time. I'm going to tell you what I want to see in Watch Dogs 3. As well as DLC for reviewing the DLC for Watch Dogs 2. And believe me, it's pretty good. But with that being said, you guys, this is the Media Raptor saying until next time, keep cool, and I will see all you dead second dudes around. Later.